The federal government shutdown heads into the second month. We're now in day 33. There have been 13 unsuccessful votes to end the shutdown, and it is on track to becoming the longest government shutdown in the U.S. Here to help shed some light on this and many more is joining me now, Congressman James Walkinshaw. Good Sunday morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. Let's just jump right into it. What do you have to say to people wondering how long this shutdown will continue? It seems like there's no impasse between both sides of the aisle.
We're on track for this to break the record as the longest shutdown in history. The record was established in President Trump's first term, and he seems like he wants to beat that record now. I'm very hopeful that it will end soon. The Senate will return next week. Unfortunately, the House Speaker has established the 7th week of the congressional Republican vacation in the House, but I'm hopeful that next week we'll start being real bipartisan conversations to address the healthcare crisis and bring this shutdown to an end.
And you know, that was going to be my follow-up question. Do you know if your colleagues in the Senate are trying to work with Republicans or vice versa to kind of bring this, I don't even want to call it a quick end, but a sooner end to the shutdown?
Yeah, I think there are more conversations along those lines in the Senate. Unfortunately, there haven't been serious conversations about a timeline for a vote to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which is a real crisis that families across Virginia and across the country are experiencing now as we speak. They're logging in today probably to try to figure out how much their health insurance will cost next year, and they're seeing that the premiums will skyrocket. So Congress needs to act to address that.
And speaking of the subsidies for Obamacare, like you said, open enrollment kicked off yesterday. What are you hearing from your constituents about what they're seeing when it comes to the cost, or has that even hit yet?
I heard last week from a young father. He and his wife have a newborn child. They're on the Affordable Care Act exchange now. They can afford it. They logged in to see what their premiums would be next year, and it is so expensive that they've made the decision that mom and their baby will be covered with health insurance next year, but dad will go without health insurance. And those are the decisions that families across Virginia and across the country are making now, and it's why this issue is so urgent.
Wow, that is a tough decision. And speaking of things that are difficult, the impacts of the shutdown continues to intensify in several ways. Another is SNAP, but it seems like there's small relief for SNAP recipients after 2 federal judges ordered the administration to do something about it. But there's also reports that even with the contingency dollars, it's not going to make much of a difference. What do you have to say?
Well, the contingency fund, it's $5 billion. It exists for exactly this purpose. The Trump administration was refusing to utilize it, I guess, to gain some kind of leverage in the partisan fight that they're engaged in. The courts were very clear that the law requires them to use that contingency fund, so those dollars have to flow, and will cover SNAP for much of November. Unfortunately, it seems there will be a delay in money being loaded onto folks' SNAP cards because the Trump administration tried to avoid using that contingency fund.
And finally, a lot of people trying to help. Food banks, one of them, they're seeing high demand, and you are going to see firsthand some of that tomorrow. Talk to me about what food banks are telling you in Virginia and what you plan on doing tomorrow.
So tomorrow I'm planning to visit food banks and food pantries across Fairfax County to see for myself exactly what they're dealing with. And I think, they have 2 challenges happening at the same time. Federal workers who are furloughed, especially those who were earning lower incomes working for the federal government, have missed paychecks and they need additional support. And then those folks who are on SNAP who have been told that they won't receive their SNAP benefits or might have a delay in their SNAP benefits, and food banks and food pantries are seeing more folks showing up from both of those categories. So I want to see for myself how dire the situation is and what we can do to coordinate and help support them.
Virginia Congressman James Walkinshaw joining me this morning. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. I'm